Hey guys, what's up? Jan here from Cold Agency. So in this video, I'll walk you through how to troubleshoot your cold email outreach campaigns. Yeah, let's dive right in. So first off, let's start off with the different elements you have inside of a cold email campaign. So there's three main elements you have. So that's the offer, which is pretty straightforward. What are you offering to people? What are you selling them? With the subset of copywriting, so how are you presenting the offer, and the angle you're using, which I'll elaborate on in a bit. Second thing is the lead list. So who are you actually targeting? So you have the quality of the lead list. So does it actually match who you're trying to target? So a lot of data tools have faulty data. And the two subset is your quality control procedure. So do you have someone checking your lists? Are you actually making sure they fit your target audience, your ICP, or not? And what is your data source? So there's a lot of quality differences in different data sources. So yeah, you have to check that out. And then also the right persona. So are you targeting, even if you are targeting the right companies, the right accounts, are you targeting the right personas inside of those companies? Then the final thing is deliverability, which basically means, is your email even ending up in the inbox at all, or are you in a spam folder or the promotions tab? And yeah, obviously, if you're in the promotions tab, you're less likely to get read, and even worse, if you're in the spam, you'll probably won't even get read. So the other things don't even matter. Some subsets of that are your email setup. Are you using the proper settings? Are you load balancing, which means are you not sending too many emails from a single email? And bounces as well. So are you seeing bounces? Are you on any type of blacklist, or is maybe your lead list quality low, and are you therefore seeing bounces? So that's basically all of the elements. Now let me move over to basically like the hygiene standards of the different metrics of your campaign, and then what they tie into in the actual the elements I just said. All right, so first off, the amount of prospects sent. So basically, this is not a ratio, so it's not like a number you can improve, right? If you just send one more, it will add one. But what I wanted to say with this is make sure you're actually sending to at least 500 unique prospects that fit your target market before drawing any type of conclusion. Since like a 1% interested rate or 2% interested rate, in this case, is only a really small difference, especially if you're sending even less than 500 prospects. So your results will just not be statistically significant. So you want to send at least 500, and this is still a pretty random number, but this is just a rule of thumb we use before drawing any type of conclusion on your campaign. So if you're watching this video because your campaigns are not working and you have sent less than 500 prospects, you can pause right now, end it right now, just send more until 500, and then continue with the video. All right, second thing is if your open rate is above 60% or more, you're fine. If you're below, you have a problem. So the open rate here is the amount of unique prospects that have opened your email at least once. So there's different types of open rates. Obviously, if you send 4 emails, each email will have an open rate. But the metric we're looking at is this. So if you send 10 people and 6 out of 10 open your at least one of your emails, so it can be the first one, but it can also be the third one, then you're fine. It's still a bit on low end. Would probably like to get that a bit higher. And it's also market specific, but let's say at least 60% you're fine. What to do if you're below that? So first thing you would need to check out is your subject line. So do you actually have like a good subject? So what we do is just like thoughts or like quick question, thoughts, first name you can do. Something like that. Don't overcomplicate this part. Just make sure it's like intriguing. It sparks curiosity, and then you're fine. If you have something else, then just try these out first. If you already have something similar or exactly the same, then I should look at the second metric. So you have bounces in your campaign. So what a bounce means is basically you send an email to another email server, and the email server basically says error. And you have different types of errors, but to keep it simple, if it's less than 5%, I would say first look at subject line, like I just told you, or just look at your general deliverability. Like, do you have the basic setup, like SPF, DKIM, DMARC? If not, set those up. Do you have like a custom tracking domain? If not, set that up. Do you have links in your email? If yes, remove them and just try and find if that improves your open rate. If your bounce leads are above 5%, this could mean two things. So it actually depends on what kind of bounce you have. And it's not always easy to see. So basically what I would just do is if your bounce leads is above 5%, is I would go to a tool called Blog Apps. You can send some emails to them, buy one test. It's like, I actually don't know how much it costs, like 20 or something. You buy a test, you do the test, and then you'll see if you're blacklisted or not. So basically, if they determined you are not a good sender and you should deserve to be in spam according to the spam filter. If that's the case, you should redo your setup because you're basically lost, or just keep it on the warming, but do a second setup. If you're not blacklisted, but your bounce leads is still above 5%, then your list quality is bad. So you need to check your lead source, make sure you're verifying all of your leads. And making sure you're not sending out to like old data, because if you keep sending out to old data, eventually you will get blacklisted. So then moving on to the amount of replies. So with the amount of replies, you want to be anywhere between 3 to 10% or more, obviously, but it's kind of typical as to what we see. So this again is like the unique reply. So if you send 100 prospects, 5 of them reply, you have 5% reply rate. This fluctuates a lot, so it really depends on how specific your targeting is. So the more granular you go, the higher the amount of replies will be. But again, the more work it will be for you to set up the campaign. And then the total amount of actual meetings and leads you get might be lower as well. Because if you're spending 10 hours to send 10 emails, you might book 5 meetings. But if you spend 5 hours to send 1,000 emails, you might book 15 meetings, right? Like, that's basically how you need to look at it. So 3 to 10%, that's fine. If you're below that, usually what we see is it due to bad copywriting. So not necessarily bad offer, but bad copywriting. So your emails are just not written in the tone of voice of your ICP. And you'll basically just get no responses. They think you're a scammer or don't take you seriously, or I don't know, it's just not working. Or what it could also be is that your targeting is just way off. But usually what we see is that if your targeting is way off, you'll get that. So people respond like, hey, this is not for us, or not relevant for us, that kind of stuff. So usually it's bad copywriting, but could also be the targeting. So usually when the amount of replies is just really, really low, but the open rate is fine, I would just revisit both your copywriting and just go through your lead list one by one and make sure like, hey, is this the actual ICP I'm selling to? Is that good? So if you go to them one by one and they seem fine, then it's definitely copywriting. And obviously, like, replies do not really matter too much, right? Like, you can get 10 replies, but if no one's interested, like, who cares? So you want to get positive replies. You want to get at least a 1% positive reply rate or more. And again, this really depends on like how specific you go with your campaign. It can go up all the way to 10%, 15%, right? We've done some crazy campaigns. We've seen some crazy campaigns. But if you go more broad, it will get close to like 1%. An interested reply or a positive reply being someone that's, hey, I'm open to a chat. I'm looking to talk to you about this, or asking a question like anything specific around what you're offering. If you're below that, you really have a bad offer. So if you're getting replies, but all of them are negative, you just have a bad offer, but your copywriting might be good. So a good example is people thanking you like, hey, thanks for reaching out, but it's just not for us. It means that, or not for us, could be targeting, but it means usually like, hey, you sent a good email, right? They were inclined to at least respond to you. They thought they owed it to you to respond, but they just didn't like what you were selling. So then you have a bad offer. So to fix your offer, you should just look on my Twitter or on the YouTube channel if this is going out there to find some other videos about that. Or I would also always recommend, if you haven't read it already, $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. It will really help you with crafting a good offer. All right, then moving on. So from the positive replies, then we obviously care about calls booked, because again, leads are nice, but they're not calls. So basically, when you're doing a direct CTA, which basically means if you're doing a direct call to action, Meaning you're asking them to book a call, like, hey, are you open for a quick chat, open to exploring further? Basically just insinuating or literally asking, like, hey, should we have a call about this? You should book 50% of the people that respond positively to this on an actual call. So if you're booking less than 50%, it means you have a bad follow-up, because they already kind of opted in to doing a call with you. And if they then die off, and they will, because it just happens, like people lose, like they forget about it, or they're busy, or they have some kind of family thing, they're out of the office for a couple of days. Like, you need to keep following up, right? They were open to having a chat. If they just disappear, you just need to follow up more, and you should at least get 50% of those on the call. Usually it can be a lot more. You can book 80% if you respond fast, if you respond well, if you like do everything well, like with the suggesting times, including your Calendly as an alternative option. Like, I'll make a separate video about this on how to actually book the calls. But if you're doing it correctly, you should see at least 50%, if not more. And then there's another thing. So indirect call to action. So if you're asking them, hey, do you want to see a video I made for you, or some kind of asset you want to share with them? Basically trying to get them to opt in to some kind of marketing asset you want to share. And then you're asking them after the asset, like, hey, do you think it's worth having a call? Then we see around 30% booked, because this will be higher. So we'll usually see around like triple the interested rate, and then around 30% will book. So in total, we'll actually book more calls, but it just takes more time. So if you're getting less than 30%, I would say you have a bad asset. So you need to redo your asset. Asset being like the video or the marketing asset. You can try doing it more personal, so recording a Loom video, for example, not once, but doing it for every single prospect, and you probably will get a higher than 30% rate, or just like change your messaging, make it more aligned, and redo. So basically, you have to make sure you track all of your KPIs correctly to actually track this number, and see what it's like. Or again, bad follow-up. So if you're asking them to watch a video, and the video is like 5-6 minutes, they'll need some time to watch it. If they're like responding to you when they're on the go, they're in the car, or whatever, you need to follow up to make sure they actually saw the asset, and if they're interested, to book a call, yes or no. So these are my tips on how to troubleshoot your cold email campaigns. Quite a long video. As you can see, it's really tough to just say, like, okay, this is the issue. Like, all of the metrics you should have, right? Like open rates, amount of sent, bounce rates, reply rate, positive reply rate, amount of calls booked, all that kind of stuff you need to track. Otherwise, you can't even properly like find the issue if you're having any. And all of these numbers are personal hygiene standards. So if you're above that, according to us, according to me, you're doing fine. Obviously, you can always improve, but these are kind of like the hygiene standards. If you're below that, you definitely have some improvements to be made. So if you like this video, if you like what we do, and you want this type of stuff implemented inside of your business, want to book an extra 20-25 calls a month, go to coldagency.io, and we can definitely help you out if you're doing at least 10,000 in monthly revenue, preferably a lot more, since we usually work with bigger clients. And also, if you have happy clients right now, good case studies, and you really want to grow in your market and you're ready to go, then definitely book a call. And I hope this video was valuable, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.